Time to put your headphones on, sit back and relax. We hope that you have a blast. There'll be debates, cringy stories and a couple of jokes. Enjoy this episode of Hubcast.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
She's got a glass on today.
That's nice. It's
These
official.
are new.
I feel like we've started.
You look like
officially.
you've.
Well, I can't
you look
read.
intelligent.
I can't read anything otherwise.
What was it that prompted you wanting to get glasses?
I've actually always wanted glasses from a young age. I used to try and fake eye tests when I was younger.
We've all done that. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
And then I realised
Big
that
time.
I couldn't actually read anything that was on like laptop screens or on my phone. So then I went and got glasses.
So your overuse of technology has led to the decrease in your eye ability.
It's a shame, really.
But hey, they look good though. How long did it
Thank
take you to
you.
choose these?
Well, the woman, the optician manager, she was going for quite a hard sell, and I'm really bad under pressure when it comes to making decisions. So I just wanted her to leave me alone and let me look at the frames myself.
Trained,
But
Reb. They're trained.
she kept making really silly suggestions.
Are these the? Have you got a secondary pair? Or have you
They're
just got-
exactly the same, and I regret that now.
Oh, you've got to have a slightly wacky second
I know.
pair.
It was
Will
buy
they
one
let
get
you
one
take
free
them
as
back?
well. I don't think so.
One
you've
pair
got-
back.
no,
'Cause
you've
they're
got them,
nice.
These are anti-glare as well.
Oh, it's all about the anti-glare these days.
I know.
Of course, I'm not wearing any
That's what
glasses.
I've been
I can afford
told.
it. 'Cause
No, I can't. These are all scratched as well. Mine.
Are they?
My glasses are currently held together with a drawing pin. It's quite nice, isn't it?
That's good though.
Yeah,
That's innovative.
Thanks.
I have been asked quite a few times though, is it a style thing or is it necessity? And I'm like, no, I'm not.
I just think
I'm not an
you just
idiot.
got glass
But you
in
put them
it.
off. Well, I mean, you put them off well, so maybe
I
it could be a
dunno.
style thing.
My mum doesn't like them. I walked in yesterday with them on and she was like, she didn't even try and hide her disgust.
Well, Kit Day, we want to say to you, we disagree.
Yeah, mum.
Yeah, Mum.
Yeah.
I don't even know if she watches these actually. I'm hoping she does.
We'll soon find out, won't we?
Woohoo!
Can I just apologise before we move forward that I'm a bit ill at the moment, so if I cough or sneeze into the microphone or anything like that, I'll try and do it away.
Thank
But to be
you.
aware, if you hear some awful noises, it's probably coming from me and my
Okay.
mouth and
That's
my nose.
fine.
Why have you not worn shoes for the podcast?
I can't say why I took my shoes off.
Oh, yeah.
Can't be
sorry.
officially
There
recorded.
was an incident.
There was an incident.
Good afternoon, guys. Hello, it's lovely.
Hello, hello.
Are you having a good Friday?
I am having a Good Friday on
Good
Friday.
Oh, gosh, that was seamless, guys.
What have we
Well done.
become?
See about that.
Well, welcome to Hubcast episode 3. It's really exciting.
We are back.
Episode
Trinity.
Trez. It's an audiovisual podcast, as I'm sure you know by now, in conjunction with the Hub Church. We're here in Hitchin. We meet at the Market Theatre every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. You're more than welcome to join us. And you can also check out our new website, which is going to be up soon, isn't it?
Very soon.
Very soon. So
Very
you
exciting.
can...
It's very swanky is the word I'd probably use.
It really is.
We had a. It's very slick. So we had a countdown, like a 24-hour countdown, but that's
It
kind of
didn't come
gone.
out.
Oh, so you didn't make the count.
So yeah, no one really picked up on it.
We've had to
so
revoke
we
that.
apologise, but it will be here at some point.
So yeah, feel free to have a look on the website. How are we, guys? Are we well? It's been a while.
Well, I'm not well, obviously, because I just said I'm ill.
No,
Yeah,
but
Tom's got that man flu.
But
You're
I'm
okay?
a teacher, and what happens is when we get our long-listed holidays that we get, quite regularly, we always get ill because we just, we keep going during the term time. As soon as we get to holidays, our bodies shut down. It's one of
Those
the
half days.
one of the tough things about being a teacher, really.
Yeah.
One of the
just running on full steam all the time.
absolutely. I work 100 miles an hour all term. Get to a holiday, body stops, body gets ill. But I do that. That's my sacrifice for education the future generation.
The young minds
Yeah, exactly.
sculpted.
Yeah. Moulding.
Children are the future.
I've heard that.
They
Yeah.
are.
Great. Well, before we...
Like, laugh. You all right?
Oh, I'm very hot. I'm going to have to take the scarf off. Well, before we get started, I've got a game.
Oh,
Podcast games. This is exciting.
great.
You're quite limited, aren't you, in a podcast, to what games you can play effectively.
Yeah, it
For
sort of
the-
has to cater for the ears.
Yeah.
Tennis.
We are at an advantage.
So if you're watching this, you're probably going to enjoy this a bit more than if you're listening, is what you're saying.
I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be nice on the ears as well.
Okay.
On the YouTube.
Audibly, aesthetically lovely.
These are good quality marshmallows.
Yeah,
I was
really.
watching Dragon's Den. I like Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
And Deborah Meaden said that marshmallows are in at the moment.
In. They are actually.
They're in.
They're like popcorn.
Is
like
it
different
Kate
flavours.
Middleton's brother has a marshmallow company, and you can get your Instagram photos printed on them.
Great.
I'm assuming you guys, being the young bucks you are, you've heard of the Chubby Bunny Challenge.
Yep.
Yeah, I've played that before.
Okay, so
Youth
what-
work.
yeah, well, I'm sure you know
I'm
all
a
about it.
retired
Then.
youth worker.
Yeah.
We're both from time.
So what we're going to do is, because it's Easter, if you guys didn't know, we are, you two are anyway. In 1 minute, I want you guys to work together as a collective, as the brilliant dynamic duo that you are, to tell the Easter story. And whilst doing so, I need you. Well, I don't need you to, but I would like you to stuff as many marshmallows in your mouth as possible. Okay, are we ready?
Hang on.
You have got.
So just to reflect.
Yeah.
So we're doing chubby bunnies because bunnies are like Easter.
Yeah.
And then Easter.
Chubby Easter bunnies, we'll call
Easter,
it.
Good Friday. Jesus is fine, which we'll tell you about in a minute.
Oh, I feel it.
And then
I did say I was ill, by the way.
we're going to eat them.
You're
So I've got to put
gonna
as
do it at the same
So I'm
time.
going to put as many of these in my mouth as I can at once. Is there like a bucket for me to...
I've got a spit bag.
We need that here in the middle.
Oh gosh, it's in a bag. It's got holes
We are
in it.
not sponsored by Morrison's.
Oh dear.
So if we ruin your sofa's HCC.
We're sorry. Okay, you got 1 minute.
Get set. Wait.
So we're working together.
Right, go.
Go. Okay.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful kingdom called Earth.
And it was really nice. And they had this Garden of Eden, and God loved the Garden of Eden. He created man and woman, maybe depending on how he did it, evolution, whatever. But God was behind it all.
Yep.
And
then some stuff happened in the Old Testament, which is, good or violent depending on your point of view. And then New Testament comes along, and then God's like, right, I'm sending down Jesus.
More marshmallows, guys.
also, Jesus, it's me. I'm sending myself down. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. God comes, moves into the neighbourhood. He's God, but he's Jesus, the God-man, as...
Or a Trinity, you could suggest.
No,
Now, Jesus
marshmallow
comes down. He's
Oh, the
born.
Trinity. Oh, sorry.
And that is kind of celebrated like Christmas time.
Oh, this is horrible.
10,
Whoa,
9,
hang on.
8,
And then-
7, 6,
This is crazy.
5,
Judas!
4,
Judas messes him up, nails him to the cross, but he comes back to life.
You didn't. Off air, Tom told us that he could fit in he used to be able to fit 2 Costa muffins in his mouth. Tom, you have done exceptionally well.
You've done nearly a whole pack. Oh, well, you had 2 of mine, so I might just eat one actually.
I'm scared he's going to die or choke.
For those of you that are listening at home, we will be talking about Jesus at some point today.
I'm actually in awe.
It's disgusting.
This is amazing.
Eat it!
Good. Well, I think. How are you guys feeling now?
I just really want a marshmallow.
I think in about 10 minutes the sugar's going to hit in and Tom's just going to be like
On a
bouncing
massive
off the walls.
high, yeah.
What's been happening
this month? Well, what has been happening this month? Before we talk about one JC,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about another JC who's very present in our lives
Probably make
currently.
more headlines.
Jeremy
Jasper
Clarkson.
Conran.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Jeremy Clarkson, yeah.
As you may or may not know, at home, Jeremy Clarkson, there was a a fracas.
A fracas.
Fracas. Where he allegedly did he punch a producer
Yes.
or something over?
What happened was they'd been
Food.
filming all day. He wasn't supposed to be filming.
Yeah.
And he wanted hot food.
Yeah.
Warm
Not a big
blooded
ask.
gentleman. He wanted his hot food, and they served him cold food.
Oh, the indignity.
And so he
of it.
punched someone in the face. No, that's the
Apparently, he
summary.
shouted at him for 20 minutes though first.
Yeah, there'd been extended abuse.
Yeah.
I mean, I read most of this in the Sun newspaper. So
No, well, in that case, let's discount everything we've just
I was
said.
gonna say,
Not
this is-
fact.
all accurate.
The BBC have fired him now, haven't they?
They have.
So it seems like there's going to be no more Top Gear for the foreseeable future anyway. What do you guys think? What do we think about it? Everyone's got
I would
a
like
bit to
to-
say, haven't they, about Jeremy chuffing Clarkson?
I'd like to come out of the closet here and say I don't really watch Top Gear.
I don't.
Not really that interested. It's all far too staged and blokey for my liking. It may stem from the fact that I don't actually care about cars. I currently drive a Peugeot. Is it 206? Is that right?
206.
206. Yeah.
Silver.
Is it silver? I thought it was
Metallic.
potentially light bluey.
It's your car.
Anyway, there's lots of scratches down the side when I've driven into various bushes. I'm missing a panel that just fell off. I don't know where that happened. I don't really care about cars. So seeing old men talk about cars doesn't interest me whatsoever. So I think I have an opinion on it, but I have to be honest and say I don't really care much about him or Top Gear.
I'm more of a car enthusiast. I drive a really great car.
That you're
known
trying
for
to
its
sell.
speed and silence. a Toyota Prius.
Basically an assassin's car.
It is, yeah. I ran over many a granny in Sainsbury's
What is
car
it with
park.
you and grannies when we sit down and record this?
I follow them.
You grab them, you follow them, you knock them over.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Okay, Rev, you want to know what we think?
Well, do you think he should have been fired? That's the question on everyone's lips,
Okay,
isn't it?
well, let's ignore the fact that he's a celebrity for a second, because somehow he's built a career, being an opinionated man.
Can we do that, though?
That's why. Well, no. I'm just suggesting, first of all, that if I walked into my workplace and I had a go at the lovely canteen ladies at work, not serving me hot food, I had a very busy day, and I'd been up, early. I'd done rehearsals after school, and I'd done parents' evenings. I'm leaving school at 9 o'clock, and I go, "Where's my meal?" And she goes, "I've made you a sandwich." If I punch one of them, I would not actually, after verbally abusing one of them for 20 minutes, I would not expect to be back at work the next day.
Yeah.
And so, despite the fact he's a celebrity, and perhaps celebrities get slightly better protection for slightly more eccentric behaviour in the world, if you verbally abuse someone and then lump them in the face, I don't understand a situation where you wouldn't get fired, no matter how well you're liked.
Yeah.
I agree. It's interesting that he confessed. So allegedly he confessed. Allegedly he came forward and said, this is what I've done, and spoke to his boss about that. But my question is, what does the BBC want to be? Is it a money-making enterprise, or is it this kind of moral, upstanding channel for the UK, this institution that we talk about? I think it is a business, ultimately, at the end of the day. And they've basically got rid of their most valuable asset. Top Gear is the most watched show. In many countries around the world, it makes millions.
If they replace him with someone else, it wouldn't be as equally. People don't watch it purely because of him; they watch it because of the format.
No, but I think he's more important than we think. And like James May said, there's like a synergy between the three of them, and it's him that leads the show. It's him that
He's a
runs
brand,
the show.
isn't he? At the end,
it'd be a
of the
bit
day.
like us losing Reb in this kind of trio. There's a reason it works. She's like the Clarkson.
I hope not. I don't want to be Clarkson.
Absolutely, what he did was wrong. It was really stupid, and I understand why he was fired. And almost the BBC's hands were tied. But what's going to happen is ITV, Channel 4, one of the big channels.
They're not. You've not seen them not being made the news.
I think they will. Someone's going to give them a job. No, they will.
They're not interested.
They said that about Big Brother, didn't they? And that is still going.
Yeah, but who cares about Big Brother these days?
You're telling me that no one's going to offer him a massive contract, even if it's Sky?
The thing is, right, so the BBC have
whether he wants to do it
made
or
the
not,
news
that's the
multiple
thing.
times recently, because obviously previous presenters of radio shows, TV programmes have had checkered pasts where stuff's come to light. You're trying to show that you are working on that sort of stuff, not in the same sort of area, but working on the integrity of your presenters and whatnot. Now, this is not his first issue he's had in the last couple of years.
No.
He's apologised multiple times. So I imagine even if they were operating on a strike system, this surely
He's had his strikes.
This is it. Surely
He's had his strikes.
And I know people who've worked as runners and producers and various other things for TV programs. You are working just as hard as the presenters, if not harder. And you are. So you're not telling me that producer hadn't also been working all day long, and then had also had to provide food.
No, but I think the challenge is, in the crudest sense, if you replace the producer, the show will be all right. If you replace Clarkson, you've got some challenges. Like, think about even like silly things, like when you think about successors to people who've been around, like David Moyes to Alex Ferguson. Again, it's not a linked example, but it's a similar thing. You can't replace him. The person that's going to replace Clarkson, if it's with May and Hammond, I think they've got an impossible job. I'm not sure I'd want to take the job.
I think
if they paid me $1 million.
I'm not sure the sporting analogy works, because sporting analogy running a team, if you look at things like Chris Moyles leaves Radio 1, everyone goes, oh, it's over. Then Nick Grimshaw takes over, now he's getting higher viewers.
Yeah, but
Chris Evans,
Moyles was on his way out.
Chris Evans takes over from Terry Wogan, who had the highest thing in the country. Now Chris Evans gets more. We move on quickly from this sort of stuff. And if they got another person who was equally charismatic, equally interested in cars, I guarantee in a couple of years' time we'd have forgotten about.
Is the player bigger than the team? Is Clarkson bigger than Top Gear? It was his idea. It was his. Before Top Gear went to 3 people, it was just him. The 25-minute show, whatever it was. I don't know. I think it's an impossible job to replace him. Honestly, do.
So discussion-y time. Haven't got a theme tune for this
Discussion-y time.
Discussion-y time. So, guys, if you didn't know, it's Easter.
It's Easter.
And we are coming towards the end of Lent now.
Yep.
Which is exciting. Did you guys give anything up for Lent?
I'm going to be very honest with you and say no.
That's okay.
Mostly because I actually forgot when it was starting this year, so I don't really keep up to it. My wife has given up chocolate, which she's done very well at. The house has been bare of chocolate, and I can confirm that she has lasted this whole long time. So
is that why she got annoyed at you in Wetherspoons when we had chocolate fudge cake?
I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
What been in Wetherspoons. Or
Both are besmirching my character.
let's go and find your wife and try and force feed her chocolate. Yeah, I did various things, but one of the things we did was this giving is living thing at church, where we gave out a sheet and encouraged people to do things instead of give them up. I pretty much failed at that. I didn't do a great job of that. But one of the things I did was gave up buying things. So I noticed that I spend a lot of time on a computer, and as I'm sort of browsing the internet, not like that. As I'm browsing the internet, I find myself on Amazon or various websites, and I just buy things like new trousers on H&M, just find things cheap, and I buy them. So I decided I'm just not going to buy anything that I don't need. I need to buy food.
Do you call them all investments when you're questioning?
They are investments. I can get trousers for like £6 on H&M. I just keep them in plastic packs, like black Cheetos.
You just use them, wear them once and destroy them.
Just keep them, box
David
fresh.
Beckham.
Yeah. So anyway, I did that, and I was doing really, really well. And it was my birthday, and my mum bought me a jumper, but I was kind of out with her, and I tried it on, and that I felt a bit naughty doing it.
Yeah.
I felt like I was breaking my thing. And then the other day, I was walking through town, and I saw these lovely black shoes, which I've taken off, and I bought them, and I realised that I'd messed up. Like, I shouldn't have done it, and it was bad, and I did feel strange. And it was really interesting. It's a silly example, but it was really interesting, this idea of what it felt like to give in to the temptation, and I think that's what Lent's about.
You felt so guilty since you've worn them.
I've worn them.
I'm like that.
I think every day since I bought them,
But
because they go with my black jeans.
I do think we have to point out that they are Tom's shoes.
Tom's.
So you have in buying those shoes, which you shouldn't have bought because you have broken your Lent.
Yeah.
You have allowed a child in need to have a pair of shoes.
Let's not try and find a reason to justify his actions.
I know, but I'm just saying it could be a lot worse. He could have bought a Rolex, couldn't he?
If you buy a Rolex, does a child in Africa get a Rolex?
You get your watch.
It's pretty much useless.
But so I think,
Get your old watch. There you go.
I'm not happy the fact that you broke your Lent, but there are worse ways you could have done it.
Yeah, thanks, Reb.
But I'm still not happy.
Are you absolving me?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll have a
So
think.
Dan, you suggested the next time you introduce a new church initiative that you may not follow it to see it out.
I think that's the kind of beauty of our church, really, that we
Quite
live in
fluid.
this tension of...
Thank goodness we're a forgiving bunch, eh?
Yeah, it's a safe place.
How big a sacrifice should what you give up for Lent be? This sort of comes back to our generosity episode, actually.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the whole Lent thing.
Is it a bit of fun?
I had some conflicting information about Lent. Someone told me quite convincingly that apparently the Sundays don't count in Lent.
Yeah, that's right.
This is what I've had a couple of people ask me, actually, to clear up on air.
Okay.
No, I'm not even joking. My boyfriend gave up crisps for Lent. This was addition to giving up chocolate for a whole year.
Wow.
Mental, I don't know.
He realises that's not Lent though, doesn't he?
Yeah, I know,
Okay,
but he's given up crisps for Lent. So basically, with the chocolate thing, it was if he slips up, then he can't have crisps for a week. But now he's cut out crisps altogether. And he wanted...
What does he do if he goes to Boots for like a meal deal? Like, what does he eat?
He doesn't.
Oh, fair enough.
He's very like a
He's given up
homey
Boots meal deals
cookie,
as well.
take it to uni kind of guy. So can we? He has asked me, and a couple of people have asked me actually. Can we clear it up on air?
Very good.
Do Sundays count?
See, now, I think, personally, I don't know what the official line is. I've been told officially Sundays don't count.
I've
but I
been
think
told
that's
that.
rubbish. If you're going to do Lent the whole way through. If you're going to have break days, you've done it for 6 days at a time. That's rubbish.
That's long enough without crisps and
No, if
chocolate.
you're going to do Lent hardcore and you're a believer in giving stuff for Lent, do it properly.
But you haven't given anything
Let's go
up.
then.
So
Come on, give
No,
us
I'm
a-
saying this as someone who hasn't given anything up this year, absolutely. But I'm saying, if you are good enough to give something up, then don't give yourself a break in between. Power through it.
it's Sundays, isn't it? Lovely Sundays. Treat yourself Sundays.
Oh, is that what they're called now?
Day of
Tuesday,
rest.
Sundays?
They should be.
Oh, gosh.
What do we
This
think?
Sunday definitely is.
Treat yourself.
I think the Lent thing about giving stuff up and then not giving up on a Sunday is rubbish.
I agree, but then doesn't it not? Silent Dave was. We were talking about this
Well,
the
let's
other day,
clear it
weren't
up
we?
on
With
air.
Silent
I want you to
Dave.
clear it up.
Silent Dave said that if you do include the Sundays, then it's more than 40 days.
Great. So you're better than Jesus.
Debatable. We'll move on. Okay, great.
You didn't clear it up.
What? Well, we disagree, don't we? I
I
think.
thought you'd done some research. I thought you'd been the last.
Oh no! Don't have time.
you've
Do you
done
think that?
research.
Do you think that?
I thought
I thought something
I thought
was
there was a-
coming.
What
Reb.
do you right? Let's
Thought
do
there
a
was a fact
vote.
coming.
Vote.
It doesn't include Sundays.
Those who think that Lent should not include Sundays.
Wait, hang on.
Lent should
Oh,
not
okay.
include Sundays.
That's you.
I'm in the middle.
Oh.
For goodness, what's the point in voting then?
Let me tell you why.
Go on then.
It's about the heart behind it. It's not about being legalistic about it. I still got something out of my little fast, despite buying those shoes. I think it's linked to fasting, and the great thing about fasting is it trains us to be more disciplined and point ourselves towards Jesus in the best way we can. But we're not legalistic about that because we're under grace.
Cool.
But
No, I say I think the Lent thing is interesting because I think it's a nice contrast to Christmas. Because in Christmas, as you ramp up towards Christmas,
yeah, it's good.
you are having more and more and more and more, and it becomes a holiday of excess. And for Lent, the idea of not doing that leading up to potentially excess, but the idea of giving something up is a nice contrast in the workaround of the timings, I think.
Yeah.
What does Easter mean to you guys personally? Because obviously you've got the general meaning, haven't you? You know, Jesus doing his bit. In layman's
Great,
terms.
guys. Thanks for listening.
But what does it mean to you guys personally?
As a future man on the cloth, what would you say?
I think it's the most important festival. And I really like what Tom said, that it's nowhere near as fun as Christmas. If we're really honest, if we're really crude, people don't get as excited about it as they do at Christmas. But I wonder whether that might be something that society shaped rather than us. But it is the centre of everything we believe. We believe that this real person called Jesus died on the cross, allowed it to happen. When people spat at him and did all that horrible stuff, he said, "Forgive them, Father, they do not know what they're doing." I mean, that takes a big man to do that. I'd struggle to do that, most definitely. And then we believe that he died and came back to life, and that's the really important part of what we believe, and it defines everything we do, or at least if it doesn't, it should as Christians, I would say. So it's the centre of history, an event outside of time, but also in time, that has changed the world. Even if you're not Christian, we're still celebrating it, we're still talking about it.
No, I've got nothing as deep as that to say, but I think it is the deal breaker one, isn't it? I think
Absolutely, yeah.
I think anyone can, enjoy a birthday. Everyone loves a birthday. I think a lot of people would struggle with the concept of celebrating a day when someone came back from the dead. So in that sense, I think it's a bit of a deal breaker one. And so I think it's one that it is harder to remove yourself from the core concept of it and still say you're technically celebrating Easter in that sense. Do you see David Cameron did a interview with Premier Christianity magazine this week, and he said, the core message of Easter is about teaching our children about a good future. And I was like, well, that's someone who has looked at the Easter story and kind of come up with a newer version of what potentially that story is saying. And I think it's Christmas, you can draw lots of different conclusions from someone being born and that sort of stuff, and you can say it's fact that he was born, etc. I think Easter's the one which it's a tough one to celebrate because it involves death, and it's one that's tough one to celebrate because it then involves someone come back from the dead. And I think that's what a time of year that definitely splits opinion much more.
Yeah.
And I think it's a deal breaker one.
People want to shrink wrap him, don't they? They want to put this nice little Jesus and go, oh yeah, you can have that and you can do that. And Jesus, people say he's a nice moral teacher. He was a nice moral teacher, but the Romans didn't kill nice moral teachers. They killed revolutionaries. And he's he doesn't let us just think that he's this kind of nice fluffy guy that's all about good morals. He says, I'm God. And then we have to work out whether we believe him or not.
It's a C.S. Lewis kind of thing, isn't it? The mad, bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh God, this Easter is a time where actually it kind of forces you to have an opinion on it, because you can't really think that I do struggle with people saying Jesus was a good teacher, he was a good guy, in the same way that Gandhi was and Plato was and whatnot, because he's someone who thought he was God. Yeah. And so he obviously was either mad, bad, or he was actually God. And I think it's a time of year that forces you to make that decision.
Yeah. It's like Marmite, take it or leave it, but you can't.
Yeah.
You have to fall somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's really hot in here, and it makes me
you're
go
doing great. I'm actually really enjoying these kind of. I just think we just overcomplicated something that's as simple as Marmite.
You have just Jesus doing his bit, just like Marmite.
Well, I want to prod that a little bit, like some sort of
do it
big cat. I was talking about Easter in general, really. My boyfriend, I don't want to speak for him, but I would describe him as a dormant Christian, I suppose. If that makes sense to you. It doesn't.
Like a volcano.
Yeah, so I don't want to speak for him, so Will, I'm sorry if that's wrong. We'll have a chat about this later. But I wanted to get his input on what to talk about with Easter, because I actually found this episode quite difficult to script, because Easter is a bit of a given, really. Do you know what I mean? But it's there, and I didn't really know what we could talk about. Will sort of brought up talking about how Easter is celebrated in other cultures. My mum has got a place in Spain, in this nice little village. Sorry to boast, guys. But yeah.
Wow.
We used to go there in the holidays, and they would have, in this tiny village where no one spoke English, they would have this massive parade with like a full-on marching band. All the kids are dressed up. They've got a massive, what are the things they hold up? I don't know. I know it's a Catholic country, but they go all out. They love it. Mm-hmm. Why? I've got a theory about why we don't do that here, but I wondered whether you guys wanted to... What is it about Easter? Is it because we don't celebrate it on the same day every year?
Well, you kind of feel like Easter is an event that a PR person would love to get their hands on it. I think it's kind of give a bit of sprucing up a little bit. I think part of the problem is, you're right, that no one is never entirely sure when Easter is. Yeah. And so every year, December 25th, boom, I know in October I can start playing my Christmas music and I'm excited. Easter time, I'm like, is it in April? Is it in May?
End of March?
All I know is I get a school holiday and that's a good thing. And so I think PR-wise, and we know that the eggs start coming out, but then people start putting the eggs in the shops after Christmas, and everyone starts tweeting, going, I can't believe there's Easter eggs out already. What's the world coming to? And so it's all focused around this idea of chocolate and excess and eggs, and we've somehow got this idea of eggs symbolising what Easter is. So we've kind of almost completely, even in the excess of Christmas, we've still kind of got the heart of it. That idea of what it is, even in things like Christmas cards. But I think Easter, we've got so far away from that now that it's quite hard to see what Easter really is. And so when you see Christians celebrate it, they either celebrate it almost apologetically and say, well, I'm very sorry, but actually we believe in this and we're going to go to church, but we'll do it quietly, don't worry. Or they'll kind of do it angrily as well. And I think it's led to a bit of confusion about what Easter is. I think, let's say, it needs a bit of a PR makeover. I would love to see people strolling through town with making some noise and things like that. I think when I've seen it done previously, it's all been quite... And obviously it's a sombre thing, isn't it? So how do you get the tone right? Do you do a sombre walk through town? Do you do a sombre service? Do you do a celebration on the Sunday? And do you tell a story? And there's lots of that stuff kind of going on. I think it needs a bit of a PR makeover. I'm not going to give you a solution because I don't know what the solution is. But I think it could do some work to try and work out what it is. I'm not suggesting, therefore, that we rewrite the entire Easter story, obviously, because that's...
I don't think we can do that, actually. I don't think we've got the power.
But
right here.
Well, people like Woolworths have tried over the years. But I think perhaps it just needs a bit of work.
I mean, it's a good point. Like Coca-Cola rewrote the Christmas story. So
no, it's a myth.
Why not?
It's a myth. You'd know that if you come to the last Hub Church Christmas quiz. Coca-Cola did not redesign Father Christmas as green, red and white. No, it has happened long before they did. But that's a common misconception. I'm glad I've cleared that up.
Is that the quiz that Dan and I and our Alpha team won?
Well, obviously not with him helping you, because he would have got that answer.
I'd like to make a confession. I had to Google one of the football grounds on it.
What? You cheated?
You better not have.
Right, in that case,
but
we are stripping.
No,
too late. We are
I am in
you.
shock.
Your team is not...
let me explain.
I'm annoyed.
We won by more than 1 point. We won by 3 points, I think.
Yeah, but
one of those points was dishonest.
Yeah. What if someone on the other team had
You're
Googled?
leading a church and you cheated in your church.
And now you're admitting it to the world.
I confirmed what I thought.
No, that's not the same thing.
I knew the answer and I confirmed it.
Exam saying, I didn't know the answer.
I knew the answer, but I just wanted to double check.
I used to be an invigilator, actually.
I'm really disappointed in you, actually.
In exams.
This has turned the podcast into slightly sad territory.
Easter.
I've got a theory as to why Easter's not such a big bash.
Okay.
Go on.
If we look at our typical British non-Christian family, 2 kids, maybe a dog or a hamster or a guinea pig or a chinchilla if they're fancy. Anyway, Christmas is very much aimed at children. Would you agree now? For like a non-Christian
nice
family.
I'm going to agree with you so you can continue the theory.
But you can. I think it's very much aimed at, get the kids what they want this Christmas, and Christmas is all about the kids and the tree and getting the kids involved and kids. But I feel like maybe Easter is not as big a thing because obviously death is involved, and I think death is quite a difficult concept for kids to be taught about at a young age or for kids to grasp. And is it because that death is difficult to commercialise?
We've sanitised death in our culture, I would say.
Do you think maybe...
I think cultures they do.
Yeah, I think... Is it a British thing?
Mexico, they have Day of the Dead, and they say...
Is it a British thing? Is it we are so...
Yeah, it might not be just a British thing.
Polite.
But I think we've definitely sanitised it, and almost like... Oh, sorry, Tom, you go.
No, you continue, please.
I think like we don't talk about death. We don't use the word death, which is really, really interesting. In other cultures, people buy their own coffins, for example, ready for their death. I'm not saying that's right, and it's a little bit macabre, but yeah, it's not a normal thing.
Donna and I have agreed to do actually. What if I die before her? We've agreed that she has to get me stuffed and put in the living room.
Oh,
That is an agreement.
that's nice.
And I'm going to record 12 stock phrases that she can play, so it sounds like I'm speaking to her.
Are you gonna have like a Woody Toy Story pull string at the
No, there's a
back?
button on my hands. I'm going to have my hand at like a good level so she can put like cups in there and stuff like that.
That's really nice,
Yeah, yeah.
actually.
And if she ever gets, remarried, they have to come around and meet me first.
That's thoughtful. Get a
Yeah.
picture with
But
you.
we talk about it.
Madam
We- you know,
Tussauds.
The fast show.
We take away the concern about that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It was either that or she had to agree to be buried alive with me. She chose the latter option. So, yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you, Tom.
Not sure
Well,
what to take that.
if anyone wants to assist Donna when the time comes, then you can sign up on our Facebook page.
Great.
I don't know.
I think it's harder to monetize chocolate. They've tried. They've done a very good job, right?
Advent calendars, though.
Lots of
presents.
kind of different varieties of eggs, but we are somewhat limited in Easter to chocolate. That's the theme.
I suppose,
Whereas
yeah.
Christmas, you can go all out because a present could mean anything.
BMX.
And it's much easier to monetize and get excited and commercialize Christmas. If the shops could commercialize Easter, they would, but they're kind of stuck because if you're WH Smiths or your Waterstones or whatever, how do you jump on the Easter bandwagon? It's much harder than if you are a chocolatier or a Sainsbury's or whatever. So Easter is harder, I think, for people in the public because it's not thrown at them in the same way that Christmas is. They're bombarded with Christmas non-stop. Easter you're not bombarded with unless you go to certain areas. And so I think, I'm not suggesting that would be a good thing, but I'm saying in terms of like people getting excited or knowing about Easter, I think perhaps you could walk around our town centre and not know it's Easter. You couldn't walk around our town centre and not know it's Christmas in December.
Yeah.
And perhaps that's up to the church to let people know that it is Easter. So perhaps the church should be saying, well, wait for the shops to let people know, because church gets away with it at Christmas time because the shops do the hard work for them.
Yeah.
They let everyone know it's Christmas
Free
time.
marketing.
They get the music out, they get the carol singers out, they do all that sort of stuff for them. Then the churches go, oh, and by the way, come to church. In Easter, you've got to do a lot more hard work. You've got to put yourself out there a bit more. And I don't think the UK churches are taking advantage of Easter as much as they could do. And I say take advantage sounds bad, but
it's an opportunity, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely.
The Easter Bunny's a bit rubbish as well, isn't he? I mean, you got Santa, but Where does this Easter Bunny thing? Did you guys ever have a story when you were little about the Easter Bunny?
To myself, I never even considered that as a possibility growing up.
Just chocolate.
Santa seemed legit, but Easter Bunny was not.
No, I just never.
Tooth Fairy, but not.
Do you have a
Tooth Fairy. Yeah.
Yeah, I never
Did
bought,
you
never
not?
bought into that either. No.
I knew it was my mum, but with quality I used to get money, so I didn't really mind.
It's money, isn't it? Money does make the world go round, and I hate that I've just said that. But
You come out with a few good phrases today, actually.
I can't wait to see what's coming at the end.
so, Dan, because you are the leader of our church and you're my friend and you're like, I'd really like a closing sentiment from you
Yeah.
regarding Easter to tell all of our listeners near and far.
Lovely. Okay. I think whatever you think about Easter, whether you think as a church we need to talk about it more, we need to be better at promoting it more, that's fine. Whether you think that it didn't happen, whether you think that Jesus didn't die on the cross and come back to life. The point I want to make here is that he hasn't gone away. This guy Jesus is still there above everything we think about. I was away on holiday, on one of my many holidays, to Istanbul with my wife. We were just there for a couple of days. And we went to a place called Hagia Sophia, which started off as a big church, a big kind of cathedral that Constantine, well, he didn't build it personally, but his guys built. And it started off as a church, and then in the kind of Byzantine period, there was lots of nice art, all this kind of tiling and stuff like that. But then it got turned into a mosque, and people came in, and Christians were kind of pushed down in that city. There weren't allowed to be any spires that went above a certain height because they would dominate the skyline over mosques. And I went and looked around this church, which is now a mosque, and it was really interesting because as you looked around, there was Arabic writing on the walls and loads of stuff going on, but above it all was this kind of Byzantine art of the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus. And it really spoke to me that whatever we do, whatever this world throws at us, whatever we find ourselves involved in, this event of the Word became flesh, of Jesus coming to earth, turning the world upside down and changing it, stands above it all. Whatever we try to do to it, it's still there, and he hasn't gone away. We still talk about Jesus at Christmas, and we still talk about him at Easter, and I think that's really great, and I think it does mean something to people today, so have fun exploring it.
Thank you, Dan. I just want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
We really love your continued support. And tweet us or Facebook us, email us, tell us what you think of it and whether there's anything that you would like for us to
I
discuss.
think we need some guests as well, so if you want to appear on the podcast,
Yes.
let us know.
I think next month we are going to have some guests.
Let's have a
aren't we?
special guest.
In fact, one of us might not be here. We might swap ourselves for
be eliminated.
someone
Have
else.
Dan and get someone else in.
I think it will be me.
But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. Follow us on Twitter, on Facebook. We've got an Instagram now, haven't we?
The Hub Church wasn't available, so we've got Hub Church.
So follow us on at
find that Hub Church.
Check out our new website, which hopefully by the time this goes out will be live, which is really exciting. Yes, I think that's all I've got to say, really. So
So what are we going to sing, Reb? What musical is it this month?
I had to perform Sound of Music this week.
it's my favourite film.
Let's go for it.
I had to sing
Favourite
16
film.
going on 17, but I had to sing the female part because I was dressed as a woman.
That's what it was. Following Tom on Instagram is just so many questions. Totally unprepared am I to face a world of men. Goodbye, everyone.
Timid and scared
and
and
shy
shy
am
am
I.
I.
Time to put your headphones on, sit back and relax. We hope that you have a blast. There'll be debates, cringy stories, and a couple of jokes. Enjoy this episode of Hubcast.